Has the Russian war machine found its replacement for Wagner's troops in Bakhmut? But was Prigozhin forced to leave the city after the Russian Ministry of Defense changed their tune? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. It's May 6th, 2023. This is your daily Ukraine update. Let's get into it. Okay, there's actually not been much of an update to the control map. You can see here just some very minor advances by Russian forces in the northern and southern blocks of the city, which makes sense, right? Wagner, who said repeatedly they are very unsupported, is probably not going to be launching major combat operations to take more of the city when, as they've said, they already feel extremely unsupported. And we've seen some footage of the combat in Bakhmut, and it is grueling. As you guys probably know, I got booted from Patreon. I also have been getting more and more of my videos demonetized. I actually had a daily update demonetized the other day. And so I launched my own site, combatvetnews.com, which has, of course, all the news stories that I can't get to on the regular channel, daily updates. I have all my YouTube videos on here for free. But if you want to support what I do and get access to the uncensored combat footage, you want to become a member of the channel. Members get access to an exclusive room on the Discord, get the lieutenant tier and above, get the shout out at the end of videos, but everybody gets access to the uncensored combat footage breakdowns that YouTube won't let me show you. Drone strikes, sniper operations, was what we looked at yesterday, and it was wild, honestly, to see these thermal optics recording sniper operations in real time. It was crazy. So become a member, combatvetnews.com, and help me continue to do this. So when we talk about the combat map, right, you guys can see that there really isn't any reported combat for the second day in a row, which is very unusual for this map to go 2 days without any attack updates, which again leads some credibility to me that Russian armed forces are continue to lower their operational tempo, and that maybe there's something more going on in the in Ukrainian operations. But here's the crazy news from just an hour ago. Kadyrov, the head of the Chechen Republic, said he is accepting the proposal of the head of PMC Wagner to replace Wagner troops in Bakhmut with Chechen troops. Now, it's not clear to me that the Chechen troops have been spared some of these combat losses. It's tough to say, right? Kadyrov prioritizes very obviously preserving his paramilitary forces, his own sort of military, because their primary role is to ensure that Kadyrov remains in power in Chechnya, right? Chechnya, tribal society, and he wants his tribal and family loyalty segments to be as well armed as possible. So that means not letting those troops get attrited down in fighting in Ukraine. But he's obviously been marketing his troops very, very hard, posting a lot of social media of his troops in the combat zone, or purportedly in the combat zone. But right, as we've seen in some of this footage, Bakhmut is not kind of in the combat zone. It's not, proximate to combat. It's the heaviest combat of the war. So sending the Chechen units there is a sign probably of desperation a little bit. And it's interesting, of course, to see Kadyrov on Telegram say that his fighters are ready to advance and occupy the city. Kadyrov is not that sophisticated an actor. He's not that sophisticated a politician, because he has doubled and tripled down on his sort of social media persona as a mega tough guy, right? Even sending his sons to capture Ukrainian troops. His sons, by the way, under Geneva Convention would be considered child soldiers because they are all under 16, which is as messed up as it sounds. Kadyrov, right, could never refuse a call out by someone like Prigozhin, right, and the Wagner group, who says, hey, Russia needs you in this fight. I think you should do it. And his tough guy image can't take the hit of refusing. And so instead, he has had to take up this call and is at least verbally said he's going to send his forces. He may drag his feet. He may simply not do it. Certainly that's highly possible. But it is telling that these two sort of power brokers are sort of trying to play off each other in order to get both the public prestige of fighting in this conflict and also the literal power increase that comes from having a unit of dangerous combat tested soldiers loyal to you, more so than loyal to, say, the government at large. So a really strange development. The only other news, again, is from the UK's Ministry of Defense, who, as you guys probably know, is completely fixated. Their Twitter is, I had to scroll like through hundreds of photos of this coronation, but to get to their intel update. They, though, point out that in many Russian regions, they've canceled their Victory Day parades. This is one of the biggest celebrations in the Russian state. And it commemorates, of course, the Soviet Union's victory over Germany in the Second World War. But it also involves evoking many of the sacrifices that families made in that conflict, where it was obvious, right, that the existential, Russia's very existence was threatened. And it's a little tougher to juxtapose that with Ukraine, where the existence of the Russian state is almost clearly not under threat. It's a little bit like canceling World War II parades in the U.S. During the Vietnam War, simply because the juxtaposition between the two conflicts was too obvious and was not, the public would see too clearly the fallaciousness and ridiculousness of the current conflict. Anyway, guys, that's all I had for you. Thank you guys, as always. A special thank you, of course, to my Colonel tier members of the combatvetnews.com and all my Lieutenant tier members. You guys are the ones who make this whole thing possible. You really are the ones who enable me to do this. Thanks also to everybody that came by on the live stream. I'm hoping to do more of those in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next one.